Hello again, the IDM here, and this week I wanted to talk about a pre-stack that I've been working on for the past week or so. I've been trying to make it work, and one of the reasons that I've thought about creating a priest is because I really dislike playing against priest. It's the most frustrating opponent I think that I go against, even more than the aggressive decks like shaman or hunter. When you feel like just kind of powerless against that steamroller coming at you, priest just has so many tools to use your deck against you, to steal your minions, to remove all your minions at once. There's just a lot of wacky combos that they can do and things to prolong the game and really punish you for playing your own cards, which is just the most frustrating thing I can imagine. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create my own priest that's really annoying and kind of frustrating to play against. But I wanted to do something a little bit different than just going out to one of the sites and finding a priest deck that is working and copy that. So I wanted to do the opposite of the last video I talked about of net decking and just using somebody else's deck. I wanted to create my own recipe, wanted to create my own deck that was unique and would make Priest for me fun and enjoyable. And combined with this thought I've had about some of these cards that are ignored that have really good bodies, so really good stats, but they have drawbacks. So cards like Ancient Watcher, which is for 2 mana, a 4/5 body, which is wonderful, but it can't attack. So it just sits there on your board and can't do anything unless you either taunt it up or you can come back and silence it. So Priest has quite a few silence options. It has a 0 mana silence spell, which allows you to silence a minion. And that minion could be your opponent's minion, or it could be your own minion. So that got me thinking, okay, can you make a silence priest deck that is competitive, that's viable? And it took me a lot of trial and error to come up with the right combination of cards that resulted in at least a good 50-50 to 60-40 split of wins and losses. So I dropped quite a few ranks on the ladder trying to figure this out, but stabilized in the mid-teens and started to have some success. So I feel a little bit more confident presenting this as an idea for you to try. So I've named this deck Father Gabriel in honor of the character from The Walking Dead. And Father Gabriel, if you watch that show or pay attention to the comic, doesn't talk much and is really probably the most unfun character on the show. So it seemed wise to name this deck after him because it doesn't talk much, it's not fun, and since this is a silence priest, I just kind of like that idea. And since the Walking Dead finale is happening right about now, that was a good time. So let's dive in and talk about how this deck works. So I already mentioned Ancient Watcher. So again, that's a 4/5 body. And for 2 mana, you can put it out there quite early on in a game. Ogre Brute is a 3 mana card minion. That's a 4/4 body, again, very strong, above average. The downside with that is there's a 50% chance that it's going to attack the wrong thing. So if you want to go face, it might, by mistake, attack a minion, and that's your plans back. Eerie Statue is another card in this deck. So that for 4 mana is a huge 7/7 body. The drawback with that card is that it can only attack if it's the only minion on the board. Not the only minion on your side of the board, but just the only minion on the board at all. Again, if you throw that out there, a lot of times your opponent's going to ignore it, and if they have their own minions, then it just sits there. It doesn't really do much for you. Another card along the same line is Fel Reaver. So Fel Reaver, 5 mana, a huge 8/8 body. The downside is when your opponent plays any card, you're going to lose 3 cards off the top of your deck. They just get burned, and it gets you closer to fatigue. You lose tools. And oftentimes, if you play that, your opponent will just try to spam as many low-cost cards as possible to really put you in a tough spot. So unless you can use that to close out a game, really you want to be able to silence it so you have that minion out there, but you don't have the detrimental effects. And the last card that I wanted to put in here because I was excited to find a use for it finally, was Ice Howl, which is one of the few legendaries I got when I did one of the pre-releases for that set. So Ice Howl is a huge 10/10 legendary creature that has charge, but it can't attack the opponent's face. It can only attack other minions. So immediately you're going to get value out of Ice Howl if you throw it out there and help with clearing some minions. But if you can follow that up with silencing it, then you have a huge creature to try to close out some games. So we have these 5 cards that they are all minions. They all have some drawbacks, but you have some silence tools to use. So you have those 2 silence spells from Priest. But you also have things like Ironbeak Owl and Spellbreaker, which can come in behind those minions and silence them and give you some more flexibility with what to do with this board that you're creating. A key card in this deck is Wailing Soul, which is a card that I completely forgot about. Didn't even remember it existed. So Wailing Soul is a 4-mana minion that when you play it, it silences everything on your board, which if you can see the synergy here, you could play Ancient Watcher on 2, Ogre Brute on 3, Wailing Soul on 4. Then all of a sudden you have a pretty strong board that your opponent has to deal with. Also threw in there a Mass Dispel, which quiets down, silences all the minions on your opponent's side of the board. And again, Priest is annoying. If you're playing against something like Tempo Mage or some other decks that are just kind of throwing out a lot of low-cost minions, building up a board, being able to silence all of them at once can keep you around in the game. Another way to get value out of these minions, if you can't find those silence tools, you're not drawing them in the right order, is to use some of the taunts in the game. So cards like Sun Fury Protector, Defender of Argus. If you have some of these cards like Ancient Watcher on the board and you haven't found the silence yet, you can throw down a Sun Fury, Defender of Argus, and taunt those creatures up. So again, the opponent has to deal with them. They either have to remove them, silence them, and then if they do silence them, then they can therefore attack. So it sets up some unique dilemmas that I don't think a lot of players have to deal with. I haven't really run into a deck like this before, probably because it's not hugely competitive on the ladder. I started using this deck around rank 5, fell down a ways, but like I said, stabilized. And I think the more I play it, the better I'm getting at it. And there's probably some other tweaks I can make to the deck to make it a little bit more competitive. So I'm going to keep playing around with it. But I felt like it's at a point now where you could take a look at it. So please try out the deck. Let me know if you would make any changes. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on it. And enjoy the games coming up. Take care. Okay, so here what I think I'm going to do is get the Watcher out on the board as early as possible. I could potentially come back next turn and silence it, plus play this Jeweled Scarab, and get this game off to a running start.
Well played.
Okay. Let's see.
Well played.
Alright, they're spamming me with well played. Their minions have +1 attack. Gain Wind Fury.
Must consider.
I like the idea of Thought Steal. Might get some extra tools that I could use in this deck.
Well played.
He's just going to keep saying well played. Let's see, Wormrest Agent and Lightwell. Fair enough. How many more times is he going to say well played during the game? Over under 10. We'll go with 10.
Well played.
There's 1. Let's keep track. I am not holding a dragon.
My seal for Argus.
brings the Watcher into Shadow Word death territory, but why not? Okay.
Well played.
There's two. We got two well played. All right. I like the idea. I could keep putting pressure on. Yeah, I like this.
The breach.
Might have another Holy Nova, so that'll take out two of my guys, but definitely got a clock on them right now. There's two Holy Novas, and I got all kinds of options here. Could have a light bomb. That would be interesting. So what I need right now is a Wailing Soul to end this game. Didn't quite get it. So at the very least, let me...
My shield for honor. Well played.
Is that three? Is it three or four? I've lost track. Shadow Word Pain, okay, takes care of my... So I have an Ironbeak Owl, I have a Spellbreaker, I have two Silent Spells, two Wailing Souls. I got a lot of ways to unsilence these minions that I need to unsilence. And I don't get one of them. But I do get the... I'm not holding a dragon. I should just play Boom. Stop messing around. Alright, I think that's four. I think that's four well played. You got a little ways to go. Mind control tech would be... Okay, this... Getting to the point where I'm going to end this game soon. Again, just need one silence.
Well played.
That's five. Alright. I probably prolonged this game more than I needed to. It doesn't sound like he can do. It doesn't seem like he can do much of anything with these taunts.
Priest, light serves me.
Double minions health, okay. So that is going to be game. Hero power. And we want to give the honors to Sir Finley here for winning. And well played indeed. Probably made that a little bit more challenging than I needed to for myself, but there's a win with this kind of funky priest deck. So this is actually a fairly decent opening hand. I can play Jeweled Scarab on turn 2. That'll get me right into a 3-cost card for turn 3, play Eerie Statue, and then silence it right away. Ideally, I'd get an Ancient Watcher here in my opening hand, but we're going to stay with this and hope we draw into some other tools early on. Perfect. So there's our Ancient Watcher. Getting a Mass Dispel against the Mage would be good, because usually run things like Mana Worm, Flame Waker. If you can dispel those, that really takes the threat out of a lot of those cards. Okay, so got a bunch of nice options here. Shadow Form. Yes, indeed. I think I will take that. So sometimes it's nice to heal these, high health minions that you can play for cheap, but I think in this case, I do want to get a board out there, though. Flame Cannon? Flame Cannon. All right. Make them use resources. There's a lot more coming.
A second chance.
If he doesn't play a minion, he could potentially attack with this without even silencing it. Let's see. Is it a mirror entity? Let's see if it's a counter spell. It's not. All right. Whenever you discard a card, well, that's pretty worthless for him. But we will just silence this. And now the fun can begin. So this Eerie Statue is alive. We got Polymorph. We're going to see it right here. Or Fireball. Or Flame Lance. But once again, that's a tool that they're not going to have for later on in the game. Hopefully when we get some good stuff. I kind of like this hero power right here, so I don't think I want to deal with Sir Finley. I could end up getting something pretty weak like Shaman Totems or something like that. So right now I could come behind this with a Spellbreaker, free this up. So that's not going to do too much.
Your magic shall not save.
Sure, let's pummel the face with the priest's spell power.
shield for Argus.
Okay, he's got the same idea. All right. Effigy? No. Okay.
Shield up.
Mirror entity? That's fine. You can have a.
My shield for Argus.
I could have Flame Strike right here, which would be sad. It'd be sad if they had Flame Strike. But they don't have Flame Strike. Doesn't look like they have Flame Strike. So it would have came out much faster than that. Unless they're slow playing me. Unlikely. It'd be nice to draw into something good here. I don't have too much in the way of good cards. We have a Fell Reaver left. There's another Eerie Statue left.
Your magic shall not save me.
Okay. So 7-9, close to lethal. Let me. I don't want to waste it on that. 2, 4. Yeah, let me just get rid of that.
I got this.
So unless he's got a way, she's got a way to be immune next turn or regain health. I need to stop saying the worst possible thing that can happen. Holy Nova? No, but we'll take that. Take a Dr. Boom off the top of the deck. That'll be nice. I'm going to do it again. Frostbolt. So I have 2 Holy Novas in my deck. Haven't seen either one yet. But since they just cleared their own board to take out Dr. Boom, oh, give me lethal on the bombs. Weak. Weak. Alright, well at least I took out. Oh, beautiful. Alright. So we're going to take care of Mr. Ice Hal. That is not going to do it, sir. Not going to do it. Well played.
My hammer burns with holy fire. The light shall bring victory.
So starting hand here is pretty decent. I'm going to keep the Acidic Swamp Ooze as they could be running with a True Silver. The Sun Fury Protector. In this matchup, what I like to do is kind of draw into that and not throw it out there because I want to have some minions on the board. Having the early silence is good if I have like Ancient Watcher in hand, but since I don't have Ancient Watcher, I'm going to see if I can mulligan for 1. We got Ogre Brew. Okay, we can throw that out there fairly early. And there's the Sun Fury, so nothing we can do on turn 1 here. So it looks like we're facing Secret Paladin. Good times. Get a 3-drop card here. So King Mukla is interesting, although I feel like Mind Control tech can be such a tempo change if it pulls a good card. So I'm going to take the Mind Control tech. I don't want to give the Paladin some bananas. No bananas for them. It's taking a while to make this decision here, so they must have a few options.
Reporting for duty.
And against a Paladin, I certainly think it's worthwhile to clear their minions as quickly as possible, especially with Blessing of Kings and the Keeper of Oldemon. They can boost up their own minions.
Reporting for duty.
So it's possible they have the Noble Sacrifice set up. Do I want to taunt this up right now? No, I do not. We put something else on the board first and then taunt both things. So there's a True Silver, so now I can come back with the Acidic Swamp Ooze and at least take away the other part of the weapon. And also burn that Repentance, so that's actually pretty good because some of the minions I have that I want to play are going to be much higher health. So the Acidic Swamp Ooze eating that one is pretty nice. When he does play Mysterious Challenger, I have my Shadow Word Death to take care of that.
Well played.
Nice play there with the Echoing Ooze. I don't want to entomb it. That's certainly not something I want to do. Kind of want to save this for the Mysterious Challenger that's coming next turn. But I could always entomb the Mysterious Challenger as well. That's a possibility.
My sincerest thanks. Not too quickly.
My sincerest thanks. Somebody who's going to be a little cagey with the emotes. Fair enough. Oh, please let me steal the 8/8 with the Mind Control tech. Please. That would be utterly fantastic. So what do you think? Is it going to happen? Oh, it didn't happen.
The light shall burn you.
Oh well. We tried. We did try.
Shields up.
That would have been fantastic, but we cut down on the damage from that competitive spirit. You can't get to face. Oh, getting that 8/8 would have been so sweet. Was not meant to be. See if he's going to go face. Does. Playing Leroy. Anything else? On a creeper. Holy Nova would be nice here. Master Spell. That actually, that is going to work very nicely. Do I? 1, 2, 3, 10.
Well played.
Alright, let's do some math here. Okay.
I got this.
Just on the off chance that he's playing a mind control tech and top decks it, I don't want to give him a free minion.
Reporting for duty.
That will do very nicely. And if I could get something to silence that, he could end the game next turn, which winning this would be awesome. But if he's got another True Silver...
Apologies.
Oh, he's got the other True Silver. Well played. Almost made the epic comeback. Almost. Wasn't meant to be. He had a chance, though. And a Wailing Soul in the opening hand, so we got some options here, and we got the Hunter Hero Power, which definitely want to go with that. Keep the pressure on. It looks like I might have a couple of turns here where I can't do too much. So they're pointing out. So it looks like we got a Dragon Priest here. Okay, we got Eerie Statue. Alright, this could be good. Do I want to attack into that for no reason? No. I don't. So the dream here would be to hang around long enough to play Eerie Statue on turn 4, Fell Reaver on turn 5, and silence Fell Reaver right away, and then turn around and Wailing Soul silence the Eerie Statue. So that would be the dream. Now you might have some tools you might have a Shadow Ward Death or two. Okay, and then after we get to that point, we have Boom, so we have some options here. Let's see what happens.
Is someone injured?
Draw all the cards you want. Change my mind. It actually makes sense to play this first. He's got Shadow Ward Death. I'm going to follow it right up with Fell Reaver right behind him. Actually, I'm going to slow down that so I can get rid of this Blackwing and get myself a 3-cost card. Actually have 2 of these in the deck already. Questing Adventure is kind of interesting. Yeah, I'll potentially play that later on. I didn't want to leave that on the board because he could have buffed it up with Felon's Chosen or just killed my Scarab here and then healed it to get even more card draw. And nobody needs that at this point in the game. So what's this? It's a 2/6.
Give me a quest. Your magic shall not save
Holy Nova, Holy Nova. Alright, starting to burn through resources. Entomb, maybe? Perhaps? It'd be nice if this Boombot finished him off. But no, huh? Took 4 from face, so it's definitely value there.
I have no time for games.
Sylvanas, you are getting entombed. Congratulations. Just so you know, it's nothing personal. Three or less attack. Yeah, got enough of that. So now we can play Fell Reaver followed by Wailing Soul and not even have to spend this silence. Oh, we'll spend the silence. We're going to spend it on Chill Mall right here. So, nope. Let's do this in order. Fell Reaver. I don't want to kill this. Get as much value out of that as possible. Brilliant. Oh, what am I doing? It doesn't... Oh, yeah. That's what I want to do. Silence it. Not thinking straight. So if you can deal with this board, I'm kind of in trouble. I do have the hero power. I can keep whittling away, but definitely taking a lot of his resources, a lot of his removal spells. That's one of the nice things about this deck is that when it works and you can play the efficient minions at a good cost, you get some good value.
Shields up.
So he's had to use all kinds of removal, has played some pretty powerful minions, and we're still, at this point, ahead. Got a taunt here. So I just need anything with silence. Any silence will do. Certainly play Sylvanas.
I have no time for games.
Concede, maybe? Concede would be nice. Take a win. Although, you could heal. I don't know, use both Holy Novas. Can't remove this Watcher. He's going to have to attack into it. At least burn 2 of those minions. Might have another taunt on board. Got a Deathwing, I suppose. Hey, alright. Well played. So, there you have it. Winning with this weird Silence Priest. Give it a try. It's a fun deck to play. It makes you think. It's a lot of order things you have to keep in mind that I almost messed up in that game. But Silence is a pretty powerful tool, especially something against something like Dragon Priest, where it's a lot of cards building on top of other cards and synergy. So if you can quiet that down, you can win some games on the ladder. So certainly I need to keep tweaking this deck to make it viable. But rank 17, winning a few games, nothing to sneeze at. And I think if I continue to practice this deck and get the hang of it, I can certainly make it a little bit more competitive going forward. So give it a try. Another annoying way to